would you say that you are an ace at receiving feedback? What do you think? Are you an ace at receiving feedback? Today we are going to talk about how can you ace receiving feedback. We're going to use ACE as an acronym, A.C.E. All right, so here's where we've been. I want to encourage you, if this is the first video that you're jumping in on this little mini series, go back to video 1, back to video 2, because this is video number 3, and they're all building on each other. And so I'm not going to go back over all that. I was just about to fall into that trap. We're not going to do that, but I'm going to let you know. I've got solutions for you, right? My company's called Leadership Solutions. I'm here to provide those for you, whether it's at the individual level, at the team level, or at the organizational level. And a powerful book and resource I've got to do that is Everyone Communicates, Few Connect. As a John C. Maxwell certified coach, trainer, and speaker, I am licensed to use this material along with other bonus materials like recordings straight from John Maxwell that I can share with you, your team, and your organization to help you communicate better, so you connect better, so you collaborate better, so you create better. You're going to get better results, better retention, more revenue. All right. So as we jump in today, here's what I want to, build some context out for you. We've been talking about how really receiving feedback is the real leverage to the feedback experience, because 100% of the ownership is on the person who receives the feedback, right? So you got to think about that. We're not going to be thinking about giving feedback today or who else needs this. It's going to be us learning this so we can get it with clarity, curiosity, and confidence. And what you'll see here behind me is what's called a conversation arc. When we enter a conversation, we're going from point A to point B in that conversation. And when it comes to feedback, we often have triggers that get us. And using the first 3 letters of the word trigger, T-R-I, I shared in our last video, what are some things that get us kind of defensive and in a mode to dismiss or discount the feedback we're getting, or just not feel good in the conversation. So go back and watch that one. Figure out a little bit more about the TRI, so that as you jump into this one, you know what we're talking about when it comes to acing feedback. So one of the things that can be difficult about receiving feedback is we don't really know what we're about to get. So let's just today, for the sake of clarity, right, and becoming more confident in this, talk about 3 general ways that we receive feedback, or types of feedback, I should say, that we receive. We're going to, again, use the acronym ACE. I'm going to get that up here. Okay, so the A in ACE stands for appreciation. Feedback is all positive. That's one of the things I want you to know from the earlier videos is I don't see any feedback as negative, because all feedback is meant to move us forward. We feedback to move forward. And so in that regard, it's always positive. Now, it may not be easy to hear. It may not be what we want to hear. It may not even be true, but it's meant to move us forward. And so, one of these forms of feedback is appreciation. Now, this is the one that we all like to get. Funny thing is, we usually don't call it feedback. We're not like, hey, can I give you some feedback? And they're like, sure, is this something I'm doing well or something I need to improve? You're like, man, you're rocking it, you know? We just tend to give that person the attaboy, or like recognize them in some way, give them a gift card or something, but we don't call it feedback. And actually, when that happens, it's detrimental to the receiver and the giver, because appreciation should be the most common form of feedback that is given and received at the 90% level out of, all forms of feedback. So we put ACE together, the A should be 90% of that. The next one is coaching. Now, coaching is a very it's a broad spectrum of coaching. It could be from, hey, we just need to make this little 1-degree pivot to dial things in a little bit, to we need to move a mountain, or even a performance improvement plan type thing, right? Where it's significant coaching. And so whether it's minor or major, that's going to fall into the coaching category. And that would be more along the lines of, this is like 8%, right? So we've got 98% now. 90% should be appreciation, where we're really highlighting, honoring, celebrating people for what they're doing well. Coaching from just the small movements to the major moves that we need to make with coaching. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get that last 1 to 2% with what's called evaluation. Now, this evaluation is the formal evaluation. It's the summative evaluation that we're going to have. And this means it's quarterly reviews, annual reviews type things that they're things that affect my profession, my pay, my position. And so that's what we're going to use on that one. Now, of course, there is evaluation in appreciation and coaching. If there wasn't, we wouldn't know what to appreciate or what to coach on. So those are formative evaluations. We're talking summative final evaluations here, where it's like a grading or a rating that's happening there. Okay, now, why is this important to understand? Because feedback can be puzzling. So like the pieces of a puzzle, depending on how you like to start, what a lot of people do is they'll grab those corner pieces and those side pieces and they'll start to create that frame to be able to do it, right? So if we think about these three, appreciation, coaching, and evaluation, as if they're pieces of a puzzle, you could just assign one of these different types to each one, right? Like a corner piece, a side piece, a middle piece. And then at least we know what we're working with and like where it kind of fits in this puzzle, and spatially, right? Where is this going to go? And that is really helpful for you and I when we enter into a feedback conversation, so that we can have more confidence in it and gain some clarity, is to know, well, am I about to receive appreciation, in which case not much of a trigger probably happening here. Is it the coaching that I'm about to receive, and I don't even know how wide, like what part of that spectrum it's going to be on? Or is it going to be the evaluation, which is usually heavier and more meaningful, which actually I want to point out, evaluation can lean both to the appreciation side, like, hey, you're rocking it, doing really well, getting the bonus, to the coaching side of, you're not meeting expectations, we need you to make some significant improvements. And that will determine what that puzzle piece, where it gets placed, I guess, right? But think about that. How can we make feedback less puzzling? Well, let's identify that there's three general types and just compare them to, is it the corner piece, the side piece, the middle piece? And once I know what the piece is, okay, now I know what I've got to work with, so I can actually get to work. All right, as we wrap up today, my quick infomercial again is, let me help you help your teams. You've got a responsibility to yourself. You've got a responsibility to your teams, to your organization, and I'm here to help you fulfill that responsibility without you actually having to do it, right? Isn't that great? When you can do your job, fulfill your responsibility, but somebody else actually does the work. I'm here to come do the work for you, right? So let me, as a certified Maxwell coach, trainer, and speaker, come in and help either coach you, train your team, or speak to your organization, and bring in these 5 powerful principles and practices to help improve your communication so you can have better connection, greater collaboration, and improved creation experience, have better retention, results, and more revenue. All right, remember, when you've got leadership needs, Russ has leadership solutions, and Russ gets results.